In 2015, at a United Nations conference in New York, world leaders came together to adopt 17 different sustainable development goals that would transform our world for better. The idea was to plan economic growth more strategically so that we can include social needs like health, education, social protection, and job opportunities. These ambitious goals made me think how we as designers and engineers can help achieve these aims by innovating with social conscience. My journey in developing products with social good started back in India when my cousin's daughter was kept in an incubator when she was born. This was crucial for her survival. And we were lucky enough to be in a developed region of the country which had these facilities. This started making me think what would have happened if she was born in a village, a rural place in India, or a country in Africa. What were her chances of surviving there? I started reading, doing my research, and I read in Millennium Development Goal number 4, it says that 3 million children die every year just in the first week of their life. And according to World Health Organization, 99%, I repeat, 99% of the newborn deaths happen in middle and lower income countries. Millennium Development Goal 4 also mentions that most of these deaths can be saved by low-tech, low-cost care. So, someone with a simple idea can make a huge difference. So, where do we start? Well, being a good observer and be able to spot problems around you is the first step of being a designer. It can be as simple as looking at a person struggling to do his day-to-day life activity. The second step is ground research, leaving no stone unturned so that we have a true understanding of who our user is. So we did our field research in 15 different villages and 6 different cities, and we found out that India's healthcare system can deal with standard births, but it lacks crucial infrastructure of neonatal care for premature and underweight kids. There were 2 major reasons for that. One was huge costs associated with setting up these infrastructure at every healthcare center. And second was inconsistency in electricity to run these equipments. Through these findings, we came up with Life Cradle, a low-cost cardboard baby incubator for developing undeveloped countries. And it helps child survive through its first few critical days of its life, like warmth, clean environment, and monitoring. When we design with social conscience, we have to understand that user plays a very important role right across the chain. So we met each and every stakeholder, mothers, parents, doctors and nurses, and the other healthcare workers in the public healthcare system in India to find out what happens if the child needed intensive care. Rural India does not have any neonatal care facilities, so the child is transported, it's referred to a city or a district level maternity ward. And it was saddening to visit these wards because when we visited there, we saw mother and child literally sitting on the floor, waiting for their turn for the doctor to see them because there were not enough beds available. When you go through such experiences, you understand how important it is to understand the need, what people need. And it also gives you third and the most important element for social design thinking, empathy. Being empathetic makes you understand the problems people face in real world. We can observe them, and most importantly, we engage with them, putting ourselves into their shoes. So from there, the ideas flow. The idea of Life Cradle was inspired from Finnish baby boxes. In Finland, since past 80 years, government have been providing cardboard baby boxes as a starter's kit to each family who has a newborn. The base of Life Cradle was made up of cardboard, which goes with the child to the house for post-neonatal care. This was a value addition to the family, because most of these places did not even have adequate living conditions. And when we talk to the users, what would they do with the cardboard waste once the incubation period is over? We found amazing responses about how it can help the child just by acting as a makeshift cot for next 6 to 8 weeks, 8 months. It was just a piece of cardboard. So another incident we faced was when a child was brought to an hospital and was declared dead upon arrival, just because of some simple error amidst all the chaos. Investigation found that the nurse had forgot to switch on the breathing support. Because the machine didn't have any feedback system of telling it was on or off, she thought it was on. I would not blame it on human error, but I would put it on equipment fault. Because one small LED that would have said if the machine was on or off, that an existing manufacturer could have included in the design if they would have gone through a proper user journey, could have helped save that child's life. So every small detail matters. And when we see the stresses around the world, these details matter now more than ever. Especially when we have to put people and their needs before profit. My design education was focused on putting people right at the center of product development process for social innovation. Thinking about how design can help change the life of a single individual and leave a lasting impact socially, economically, and environmentally on a broader scale. In past decade, I've seen the field of industrial design embracing social and ethical issues and how design can serve the planet. In fact, even mainstream design education has also changed its focus from product-centric development to human-centric development of innovation. And what excites me is the companies from emerging countries using their own different approaches to research and development that are leaving tremendous amount of impact. Quite a lot of it comes from India, where we call it Jugaad innovation. Jugaad is a Hindi word that translates into ingenious improvisation. It does not take more than human ingenuity to put it into practice. The principle on which Jugaad works is basically when a person or a community comes up with a feasible solution for their day-to-day life problems using the resources that are available at that point. And if the solution works, it develops into a mature product over a period of time through involvement of local community. And sometimes even local NGOs and universities help scale these products to show their true potential to the global community. So the frugal way of approaching a problem and giving a simple fix to a simple or a complicated problem is helping countries where resources and know-how to do these things in a usual way is not generally available. And the approach is quite cost-effective and resourceful because in opposed to individual companies putting in huge amount of profits and capital into developing a product outside the community. So a good example of Jugaad was a project started by an Indian farmer who made a manual rice transplanter in his workshop just because he could not afford an automatic one available in the market. His solution was accepted by the local community and villages around him just because it was affordable, it was replicable, and most importantly, it worked. There are Jugaad ideas everywhere across the developing world. The ideas that started modestly, driven with social intention, have ended up giving basic services as basic as heat, electricity, and internet at grassroots. And it is these ingenious works that's inspiring small companies and startups to come up with solutions for these community, co-creating with the community. Jugaad ideas are disruptive, they are fast, they are resourceful, and cost-effective, and helping developing countries like India to become one of the world's fastest-growing economies. For me, as a product designer, it inspires me to come up with solutions for people who are concerned with humanity and planet. It's a different type of thinking. It's a non-conventional way of thinking. And these kind of different approaches are also helping drive different economies. A global firm, IDEO, recently told Fast Company that future of design is circular. IDEO and other influencers are challenging the design community to come up with product and services that stays in a closed loop. In other words, encouraging business models which are thinking about waste and recycling right at the beginning of a product development process, and looking at service-based solutions rather than ownership-based model for driving circular economies. It is causing designers as well as consumers, hopefully all of us over here, to think about a bigger picture that encompasses what happens to a product when it reaches its natural life, end of natural life. Where does those material go? How can they be recycled? How can they be repurposed for a different use? And if we think in this way, designers are stewards of this planet, so we better not mess it up. So the future of design can take different directions. In fact, we had amazing talks today about how latest technologies are helping us to solve our problems of day-to-day life. So the idea of Internet of Things is taking hold, and the likelihood that all our equipments will be connected to a network, collecting data, analyzing how we use them, and improving them, sets a stage for machine learning and artificial intelligence to be much more prominent field in the future, which many of us fear that will take away our jobs. Will this affect us as designers? Being a designer, we need skill sets like empathy, creativity, problem solving, and most importantly, being able to identify people's need at a fundamental level. Will an AI machine be able to overtake us in providing a deeper empathetic value? Is a very difficult question to answer right now. But humans and machines will work more together, where machines will, in fact, are taking over repetitive tasks today and improving them, and us as designers will be curating the whole process. In fact, all of us over here have power to become designers in their own field. The truth is that all of us have those capabilities. We just have to dare to do it. So for now, I'm very optimistic about the future. Coming from new crop of designers from different social backgrounds, from different countries, I think we are connected enough through common social goals that we will design to change the world we live in for better. The organizational structure and support is here to help us bring these social enterprise into being for people who need it the most. We are the generation that grew up multitasking in every stage of our lives. So let's not stop there. Let's keep designing the future we want to live in. Thank you so much.